back to the pod, everyone.
What is up, guys?
And
Hello.
welcome to our first ever male guest.
How do you feel
Joss.
about that?
Honest.
Honoured, you should be. So, we obviously know who you are, but for anyone who doesn't know who you are, can you give us a bit of an introduction?
Don't Google it for sure. My name's Joss Mooney. I own Elevate Agency and used to have an outrageous haircut. I'm sure you'll get into.
But I think we have two different perceptions of you, because obviously I know you as like businessman, Joss, like very settled, calm. Liv knows you from
Back in the day.
TV.
So we want to take you back there.
Fire
Are
away.
you
First of all.
excited? Are you excited to go back?
I've had this question many times. So
I bet you're like, I don't really want to talk about it again. We've also got a very bold dog.
We have a bulldog today. Apologise for the barking in between. So let's go all the way back. So all the way back, we're showing the age here now. So when you first started, like, I know the first thing was X on the Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did that even come about? Like, did you want to be on TV? Like how did that work? Lily?
Do you know what? Like I did all the right things. I went to a good school and everything, and then you meant to go to university and get a good job, and that was like the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But then after school, I went to university, and I dropped out. I couldn't focus. I was never very good at school because I have ADD. So if I don't like something, I'm not going to concentrate. And then I kind of dropped out of university, and then someone asked me on Facebook if I wanted to go to Marbella and work for a season. And so I started to get about doing that. And then I got a message from one of the scouts for MTV, and they said, do you want to go on a show? It's going to be in a villa in Spain, and it's going to just have loads of girls in. I was like, sign me up. And they said it was called Summer of Love, because it was the very first one.
Okay.
And so you literally didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I had loads of like interviews, and I specifically didn't say like some of my exes that I didn't want to be there because I thought it'd be something that kind of related.
Okay.
And they just dug everyone up.
Wow.
And I like rolled up into this villa. I think I was like the fourth ex in there, and then there was just don't take this badly. I had like 6 exes in there, but like
Whoa,
only 2 were actual
6?
ones. No, because it was like flings. They count them as like I could have kissed one of them and they counted as an ex basically.
Okay.
And I had 2 actual ones in there, and yeah, that was like. I can't knock it. That experience. That was when Twitter was blowing up as well. That wasn't even like Instagram, so it wasn't even helpful. But like that was the start of me building any sort of platform. Even though the demographic, looking back, was everything I didn't want. You know what I mean? It was just like teenagers following me.
But you know when you say that, like when we go back to like Facebook, like Instagram wasn't even a thing. You know, so like how did that work? Because you know, like obviously social media is totally different now. So when you got poached first, let's say when they messaged you to scout you, like was it like a Facebook DM?
Yeah, Facebook. It's not called a DM.
Did
then,
you
was
know-
it was just like a Facebook message. Yeah.
Did you know what you were going to get out of it? Like, did you go into it thinking, or were you literally just like, I'm going to be on TV?
I didn't have a plan then. I didn't sort my life out until I was like 27, 28. I had no idea. I was just like, fuck it. What have I got to lose? And I was coaching people. I was a PT then as well. So I'd always go back to my bread and butter of doing that. And I was never ashamed to do that. And I think a lot of people don't know that because a lot of people just know me of going on a show and getting some followers. But I always used to go back. But yeah, it was a bit of a weird one how I got on there. Like,
What was it actually like? Because obviously...
Anxiety.
Was it?
What? Really?
Because obviously nowadays, like Love Island, I think even from when Love Island started, everything's tame now. Whereas I feel like when you went on TV, it was like the golden era of like Geordie Shore, X on the Beach. Like you could literally say anything you want. Like, did you feel like, were you nervous when you came out? You were like, oh my God, what have I done?
Lily.
Guys, the dog is having a bit of an issue today, guys.
Yeah, the shows that, like, when I first went on, bearing in mind, like, I had no experience, I had no media training, and you get put in a house, you have a mic on, you've got a camera looking at you, you've got a Big Brother camera in the corner. I can't even breathe without, like, someone hearing what I'm doing. And that's why they feed you alcohol, because then you start, like, it shuts your brain down, doesn't it? And you start speaking, and then you can say the dumbest shit, and then you've got to realize like you could even like start slagging off the crew, and they can hear you, and they're like, and then they'll give you digs and stuff like that. And
was it scripted back then?
They'd plant an idea.
Right.
And literally, because I was so new and innocent, we could be in an interview and they're like, you should talk about this. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's talk about that. And then they could cut lines and put them together.
And make it sound like you were saying
I could literally say she is, and I could slag, and it'd be like, but she is a slag in two totally different sentences. So it can make it look really bad. But I just remember going in and having anxiety for the first day or two. But
and then you kind of eased off.
Yeah.
What about the haircut? What about?
Are you going to put this on?
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm definitely going to put it on the screen.
Do you know what? I'm so proud of that thing. It's like a wig. I went to Marbella and I got called Lego Head because it was like one of those haircuts you just click on and off.
It's so funny. But like when you were back in the day, were you like, yeah, like this is the one. Like I am 10.
I thought it was mint. If you're talking about Facebook, if you go back to my profile pictures, go back to like the first ones when I was at uni for the short time I had like sideburns. I used to straighten them down to here.
Stop it.
Yeah, I had a whole routine around that haircut.
It's
because like if you look at like we said the bands, you got like I think it was Charlie from Busted, and they all had these fucking haircuts, and I was like, this is sick. Go on like Geordie Shore, like Gals off Geordie Shore. Yeah, he used to like straighten his hair.
Oh yeah.
It was a thing then.
That is so funny. So when you look. So when you look back on that picture now, like, are you still like, yeah, that was a vibe?
No, but it was a memory that won't leave me. But like, do you know what, like at the time, do you know what's funny? It's like when you look back on old pictures and you like look at the way you used to dress, you're like, why did no one tell me?
Yeah.
Everyone was telling me the opposite.
I used to think I was Frankie from Saturdays. Do you remember that haircut?
Oh,
and it was like short on one side, long on the other.
Wow.
That's what I used to have.
I can't say much. I had like my hair used to be backcombed as high as it possibly could. Like it looked like there was a nest on it. So to be fair, I think it was just the era, wasn't it?
It was the era, yeah.
I don't feel like young people will ever have that now. You know, with TikTok, there's like 14-year-olds with a clean girl aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I had to have Dream Matte Mousse and blue eyeshadow. Do you remember that? Did you do that?
Yes. Loved it.
With
do you
the
think in
lips.
10 years' time you look back now and be like, what the fuck are we wearing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I feel
100%.
so.
No?
100%.
I think
Yeah?
we will.
I'll be like, look at my slick hair, I look like an egg.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
And right
think-
now I'm like, clean girl aesthetic.
I think we will do that. But you know, let's say after the show, like, okay, so you finished that. I know you did the challenge and things like that as well. You did a few things after. But like, let's say you left the show. Did you, like, what happened after? Did like things just blow up for you? Like, or?
It was, I remember it was me and Ross, who was like Joss and Ross, he was like my best mate. We went around doing PAs, which was so stupid. Like,
Oh, like in a club?
yeah.
Okay.
I got paid, I remember my first one was like £250. I got it on the night out and I spent it immediately at the bar, even though we got free booze. I was
That's so funny.
It's just fucking stupid. But actually, like, for back then, we got paid, like, good. It was all in cash as well. But I just didn't save any of it. I had no plan at all. I was actually so lost for so long. And then that's why I think a lot of people fall into that trap. I did always go back to my fitness, but if you look at a lot of people who do go on TV, they keep going back to it because they don't have a plan or they don't use it as leverage to use that following to do something with, you know?
But you know, when you kind of did that and then you kind of moved into, obviously you did the challenge, which was like totally different. Like what made you go from that to that? Were you scouted for the challenge as well?
Yeah. How did that come about? I got a manager that was in America and they were looking for people who'd been on TV, because it was MTV as well, to go over to America. And I was athletic, so they just wanted me on there. And that's as I was kind of, I created my website, wix.com, really shitty website. So I was kind of going into online at the time, and I was like, fuck it, it's going to bring a wider demographic of people so I can potentially use it. That was my mindset.
Okay, because it was showing a different side to you, right, wasn't it? It was showing a different side to you from like Joss.
Challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, they hated me on there. They literally hated me because they wanted me to go on, because you've got to do physical challenges. You've got to do loads of like eating, mental, physical stuff, which I was good. Yeah, I've eaten the most disgusting things you can imagine.
Like I'm a celebrity eating shit. Oh my
What did you eat? What was the worst thing?
Pig snout, balls, eyeballs, our fish gut shake. That was shit. That
Was
really
there
shit.
anything that
Not allowed
wasn't that
water,
bad?
Huh?
Was there anything that wasn't that bad? It sounds awful, but you were like, oh.
I had snails. That was all right.
Oh.
Looked disgusting, but it was all right. It was horrible because like we woke up in the morning and I was like, it's weird. Breakfast isn't out, and there was a challenge. Like it was season 33, so it was 33 delicacies on a table like this, no water, and I had to start with a fish gut shake, and then they were like, right, straight afterwards you got to do 5K run. So people were like throwing up as they were running. I started laughing, but it's yeah, it was.
And were you paid for those shows? Like, were you paid, or was it just like you just go on?
You get paid basic, but like you compete for $1 million.
Okay.
Which I technically should have won.
Technically.
I don't give a fuck about this anymore. So because in there's obviously politics and stuff.
Okay.
And they want you to. So I was very good at the challenges, but they wanted me to go in there and sleep with people because they want me to be that guy, right? And I'd go in with a girlfriend, and I'd say I wouldn't have a girlfriend to get on the show, and so they wouldn't like me. So I'd do the challenge, and I'd just go chill in my room. And I wouldn't be like causing drama, which they hated.
Okay.
So when it came to the actual competitions, I went right to the very end, and it came to like the decision. They're like, so and so's won off times, and I was like, I was clocking the time in my head. I know if I'm ahead of someone.
Yeah.
And then I tweeted it afterwards, and I remember the head of MTV was like, "You got to take that down, otherwise you're not getting cast again." Now I obviously don't care, but like.
Yeah. But I think that even shows like now that like you didn't really care about all that social media stuff, do you know? Because I feel when you were casted and you did all that, like you said, you had no plan, but you always went back to fitness. Because to be fair, like if you go back even on the years, like despite the cool haircut and everything, you were always in shape. Like you were always in good shape. So why did you never compete actually? Was that ever a thing?
Because I like my routine and my life, like, and I figured like a lot of my friends did it. Rogan, and he did it, and he was the most miserable human. I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, what am I gonna get out of it?
Yeah.
You know, because I see so many people putting so much effort and abusing their bodies to get in a crazy shape, and then what are they getting off the back of it?
Yeah.
You know? Only like the big dogs do really well on that. Like, even look at like Ryan Terry. He's got the best physique in my eyes, and he took him so long to win.
Yeah.
But obviously he's got a lot of off the back of it with his sponsors and everything. But I just think the ROI is not.
It just wasn't for you.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. And I love beer, so.
But like with that, like let's say like after all of that, so I think we were kind of saying earlier that with social media, like a lot of these people that do like reality, like you said, like before you went on, you got lost, you were lost, you didn't know what you were doing. But you kind of weren't by what you're saying though, because you always went back to fitness. So how did you change? Obviously where you are now, you're well established, which we'll get into in a bit, but like how did you make that like transition?
I can only speak about this now because I've done it, but I think subconsciously I was just on a mission that I didn't know I was on. I just kept doing something. Like Michael B. Jordan said it, you've got to be slightly deluded and have blind faith of where you want to be. And I was training, I went into PT, and I started an online site. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't have a plan, but I just kept doing what I enjoyed.
You're just a hard worker.
Yeah, I do work hard. I'm big on volume, just do more of everything.
Yeah. But I think that's it. You know, when you said like a lot of people will probably follow you and feel like, oh, I need to be like in university, I need to be doing that. Like, look at what you just said, like you're super successful and you just worked really hard to get to where you
so
are.
This was the thing. So my mum used to hate me because I was never good at school and I didn't do stuff that I didn't like. I got sacked from pretty much every job I went into, but I was a hard worker. So like, it's that thing of C students usually end up building their own business and hire A students because they're smarter than them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they drop out, you do your own thing because you enjoy it. The hard work's still there, and then they hire people smarter than them to do the job.
It's facts. Makes sense.
It's fact. It's actually nuts because like the people who do the best at school, you think, oh fuck, they're gonna go do their own thing, and in the system, yeah, they will, and they'll get an amazing job. But if you've got that ambition and you go create your own business, you can do even better, which is kind of sad.
Do you know what I always think as well? Like the people that aren't as smart, I always think are actually better at life because they try and find like the easiest way to do something or the fastest way to do something, the shortcut of where, like, whereas a lot of people that are like really intelligent, you know, like book smart, they'll overthink stuff like you know, like analysis paralysis, where they'll literally think like, oh, I actually can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. Whereas I feel like sometimes when you're just like a little bit blissful and aware and you just have like blind faith in yourself because you're like, do you know what, I can do whatever I want because I'm just gonna work hard.
I think it's because you've nothing to lose as well. Right?
Yeah.
You literally have nothing to lose.
Yeah, nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. So when you went into online, because the online space, obviously it's huge now, but like when you were doing it, so what were you doing? Just online coaching, or were you just doing PT and coaching? Like what were you doing?
So I worked in Manchester at Lifestyle Fitness, and I went to a private gym, and my PT clients, I got to a point where I was full, and I was like, I'm so time poor. So I created a Wix.com website. It was fucking awful. I like ebooks for like £30, and nothing happened for so long. And then I had that while I was going on TV shows, and I'll try and like turn that into some personalized coaching. I sold it for like £90. And I just kept kind of developing it. And then I can't remember what age I was, maybe like 26, 27. I got approached by Affluencer. Do you know Affluencer? No. So Macroactive, who are in software developers, that was a sister company to them, basically, a reseller.
Okay.
So similar to what we do. And they approached me, and then they built me my own app. And at this point, I had like 300,000 followers. So they're like, you can sell to these people. So then they built me my own platform, and then I kind of went into pushing low ticket. And then I felt like I had something, I had a purpose because I had my own site. It was like all fulfillment taken care of. So I just went hard into like being an online coach at that point, really.
And did that take off initially? Because I think some people feel like when you've got like a huge following, that like naturally you're just going to have buckets of money and it's going to be super easy. What, is that the case? For me, at that time, I personally thought I did well. Like within 6 months, it got up to like, it was about 23k recurring rev per month, and I thought I was like living the dream.
Like all fulfillment taken care of.
Yeah.
But then now looking back, like some of the coaches we get on, or not coaches, say influencers, who have been on big TV shows, now we don't mess with these people because we've learned that when we take these people on, the demographic is just so wrong. Yeah. And they can have 1 million followers, but it doesn't work. Yeah. You know, the coaches who do best are actual coaches with like lower followings, but because realistically, if you've got, 200 people paying you $50 a month, that's your 10k. And then these people who do these big shows, they don't even have that because the demographics off. It's all like teenagers. So
that's the thing, more like fangirls, right? Than anything else that are going to invest in you.
Yeah.
But like you've done all that and then you were like transitioning. So how did you transition to online coaching to mentoring? Like, because that's a pretty big step, right?
So I got up to like 23k and I thought, this is me, I'm sorted. And then I've been friends with the Harrison twins for many years. And they have an older brother who's kind of the brains behind the operations with them. And he messaged me one day, he's like, right, we're going to do high ticket. I didn't know what a ticket was, I didn't know high ticket, low ticket. I just knew what I was doing and it was working. And I was practicing. It's so funny because we message so many coaches, and if someone messaged me then, I had a bit of an ego. I was like, don't fuck with me. Like, I'm doing good. And I'd have to deal with this all the fucking time. And he messaged me saying, we're going to do high ticket. We're going to sell a program for $1,600 and we're going to write you a script and you're going to do a story with a type form, get people on a call, sell it, and we're going to do fulfillment. I was like, I'm not interested. And he asked me, and then 6 weeks later he asked me again because his brothers had done all right on it. I was like, fuck it. I did it. And then the first month I did like $98,000 in my first month.
That's mad.
Yeah. And because, do you know why? It's because the 6 or 7 months prior, I was fully in the community. I had I think it's about 600 people in my Facebook group, and I was so active. Yeah. So there's so much trust with my audience. So when I said I'm doing one-to-ones, it just blew up.
Do you feel like you had to almost like rebrand yourself over time? Or were you quite lucky that the people that you attracted from like the TV shows were naturally just like the demographic, maybe because of the way you looked and stuff? Or do you feel like it's taken quite a lot of time for you to actually like rebrand? Because I do feel like there will be a lot of new coaches now that might have come from the influencer space, and they're like struggling to almost detach themselves from like what they've been putting out already to like, oh, well, I now have to be a coach and I have to like show authority and now I have to speak in front of the camera. So did it take you a bit of time for that to like come, or do you think you just naturally stepped into that role?
There wasn't like a specific transition. I was always doing both.
That.
I was on a show, but I'd be always coaching. So to do a transition like that will take a lot of time. But in reality, these people who are trying to make that transition, you don't need big numbers. Like I say, if it's 10K, 200 people, $50, or you do high ticket, you need, 5 to 10 clients. And these people have thousands of followers.
Yeah.
So like you don't need big numbers. You just need authority. You need like something that fucking works.
And in like, obviously you speak to loads of coaches who are trying to like build a business. In a market that, you could say is saturated, you'll probably be like, it's not saturated, like you speak to the right people, blah, blah, blah. Every mentor says the same thing. But to someone that thinks there is quite a lot of online coaches now, what do you think is like some important things to think about to like stand out in the industry?
It's hard if you're going with that mindset, 'cause you're never going to think you stand out. But the only thing that you can stand out with is personal brand. Like no one can be you. So you need to work out why people are going to buy into you. And a great way to work that out is give yourself some sort of like brand name. So like there's a guy called the Quad Guy in America. He's just massive on quads. If you're just the coach, you're going into a sea of coaches. Try and be known for one specific thing. Have a mental haircut. Do you know what I mean? Joe Statics, R.I.P. He was the guy with the crazy chest. Do you know what I mean? So have something that's going to make you stand out to draw attention. If you get attention, you can leverage it and then you can coach people. But if you're going in just as a coach, it's like when I say to the guys when you're on a sale, you're right.
Sat here like...
it's like when I say...
We're not cutting that. We're not
If you talk about... If as a coach, on a sales call, you talk about the offer. Everyone talks about the offer. You can go on ChatGPT and get a coaching plan. Do you know what I mean? So why would you buy into someone? So create something that's going to draw attention that's different.
Yeah, 100%. But I feel like with your mentorship, like there's obviously lots of mentors now and stuff. And I think the one thing that I rate with you especially is because you're so diverse with what you do. Like you have so many different platforms that don't just target people who are making like 30, 50K a month. Like people who are starting from like the ground up. Like I feel like that's a big thing because a lot of mentors won't work with them. You need to be established first, whereas you like to work from the ground up. So like, what are your kind of ways with Elevate? Like what are your tiers?
So if you go back to like how we went from B2C to B2B, so we're in like the 7 months, we scaled dramatically. And then I was in Dubai and I met the CEO of Macroactive. And so basically, they were asking why I'd sacked off my low ticket platform.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've done high ticket. And I thought he was like probing to get information to like implement it into his business. So I was like really standoffish. Long story short, he wanted to work with us. And so we could do high ticket together. So we became a reseller for them. So we went to teach people how to do high ticket. We even did high ticket for people, providing fulfillment for big clients, and then we went into partnership with them. So then if you're a client, we could provide you with a high ticket service, mid ticket and low ticket fulfillment.
Okay.
So you've got three levels of coaching, which means, say if we do it for you, anyone who comes to your door, you've got an option for, essentially. Do you know what I mean? So, so we build like these apps for people now. But again, like it has to be right for the client. So with the mentorship we do, like 12 weeks long, that's much more for people with lower followings, because high ticket, if you've got like 1,000 to 2 followers, for you to do well, it's pointless you having an app.
So is the app low ticket?
It's low ticket. It's whatever you want.
Right.
There's a guy in America doing 5K packages through it. So he does a sales call and then gives you access to the app, and it takes care of like fulfillment for you. You can do whatever you want through it, but the majority, because fulfillment's taken care of, people just stack it up with low ticket, and that means it's hands off if it's low ticket. If people are paying you $50 a month, you don't even need to really interact with them unless it's in the community.
That's mad because I don't feel like there's many like mentors that do that.
No.
It's so niche. Like how did you like decide like, oh, this is going to work rather than like standard mentoring?
All I'm doing is providing a service, what I've been through, what I've done myself. And like, I wouldn't be pushing it if I hadn't done it, you know? And I think what's nuts is like we had about 600 people come through the academy last year, and kids, 21-year-olds, 2,000 followers. Guy called Nathan, I speak about all the time. He did like 10K in his first 2 months. He was on £500 a month from Newcastle playing rugby before, and changed his fucking life in 3 months or 2 months. He did that. That took me about 6 years to do myself. Nice. So, and people don't realize when you pay for stuff like this, they look at the fucking price tag and they don't look at the value and experience, you know, that the people who are teaching it have done.
100%. But like, you know, when you say that, like, I feel people are very standoffish. Like you'll see online, oh, you shouldn't have a mentor like when you're at the initial stages. Like I personally disagree with that. Like I think you need support now because like from when you started in the fitness industry to now, it's totally different. Like how you market.
I do feel like as well that you kind of have to go with the times.
With the times, yeah.
Like from when I started to now, it has changed drastically. And I'm not sure whether because you had more followers when you started or like, a few years ago, you might have been approached by more companies like to run low ticket and ads and all this stuff. But I feel like 2-3 years ago, like running ads and having a low ticket app and like it wasn't even a thing. So I almost feel as well like if you're a new coach, you kind of need to know about these things now because this is the stuff that you are up against. Yeah. Like you are like within this industry, like you are up against people who are going to be using absolutely every avenue, and if you have no idea about it, it can be very hard then to build a business just off following alone.
End of the day, though, it's not about anyone else. Why do you work? Why do we do everything? It's to buy time.
Yeah.
It's to buy time, and then with your money, you can buy health, because we're all going to get old. So by you doing a mentorship, investing that small amount is going to project you forward a lot faster, and then putting automations in your business. That's the end goal, is to have as much time, be financially free, and do what the fuck you want when you want. Personally, I think so.
I agree with that. 100%.
And why does anyone work? To provide and buy time.
Correct. But I honestly think, like, I do believe that, like, people need that support, though, to have that time. Because I look at young people now, you said they're coming into the academy at, like, 21. There is no way a 21-year-old is going to be able to establish themselves without your support. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, you need it now compared to, like, rewind, like, 5
you
6
can
years ago.
learn. Like, you can learn anything from fucking YouTube. But again, if you're 21, you probably need the accountability. You need someone, like, we've got, like, you come into the mentorship, 60 hours of group calls, 12 hours one-to-ones. You're assigned with the client success manager because you need to tell these guys, like, show up, do this, fill out your KPI tracker every single week, make sure you're performing.
It's a lot of work, though. There's a lot goes into it.
Yeah, there is. Especially this last year has been, like, tough in the trenches. Me and Jamie are trying to, like, step back and try and take, like, a CEO position, I guess, so to speak, and just help the business run on automation. Because my strengths are actually growth, like networking, meeting people, like this mastermind next week. Can't wait to do. Just to put everyone in a room. You're coming on the boat, right?
I'm going to do that.
Come in.
What's that?
A boat?
A boat? A boat? I'm in for a boat.
We've got a big boat on the Saturday. So
Go on then.
nice.
That mastermind looks amazing. Is that your first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now looking back at it, I think I've structured it slightly wrong because I was speaking to Chris Spearman. So the first person I spoke to about this was Mike, and he did like super high ticket. But Mike is more of a personal brand, so he needed to do that because he didn't really have anything to sell on the back end. And Chris was like, you have the most to sell on the back end with low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket. So I think the next one we'll do even a free or just a big event, very low ticket, and then we can have upsells on the back if the people want to do mentorships, build apps, all that kind of stuff.
Unreal. But like looking back now, if you look on your life now, I feel like you're obviously you've worked really hard to get to where you are right now, and I feel like you're very settled and you're in a place that you're like content with. Like, would you say you're happy with where you are now?
Last 7 months, yeah. Been with them, yeah.
But like you've created that. Like if someone said to you 5 years ago you would be here, like would you believe them, or did you always feel?
Do you know what? I've always done what I've wanted, and I've always had a belief that I'm going to be sweet. I never thought I'd be here for sure. I'm like, sometimes, you know, when you're out, you've got to step back and be like, fuck. Like, when you're having a bad day, I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, life's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I can't complain.
But like when you moved, so obviously we've like talked about like the business and everything like that, but obviously personal life and stuff. So you have moved from UK to Dubai, first of all. Like, what gave you that transition? Like, what made you want to be like, I want to be here?
Do you know what? Like, it wasn't even about coming here. I think the main thing was for growth within business, tax, all that kind of stuff. I would be happy anywhere, because it's cliche as it is, home is where the heart is, right? And I've been through some awful relationships, awful ones. I'm not going to mention any, but you
can plead the fifth.
We don't want to get cancelled, so maybe don't.
I don't want to get anyone killed.
Oh God!
Some crazy Russians turning up. And like, I was in Marbella for so long. You know, I just didn't really want to be in England. Always wanted to be in the sun. And I came here in lockdown. That was it, with my ex. And I signed up to be a resident, so it was kind of by accident.
Okay.
And then I was just going back and forth doing the 3-4 months, going home, that kind of thing. And then met Em, and I was like, I've got to go back because I'm a resident. She was like, I'll come with you. And then
Now you're dog dad.
it feels, I'm a parent.
You're abhorrent. Yeah, like things have changed obviously a lot for you. So like obviously you mentioned Ems there. We know Ems, and she's a little superstar. But how did you meet her? Like, how did that happen?
You know what? So I was in Marbella, and everyone was like, stay for the winter. All my friends, everyone hangs out, everyone goes for dinner. No one does fucking anything. I was just sat in my apartment watching Netflix all winter, and I was actually super lonely. I'd be going out trying to find people in the wrong places, and it just wasn't fucking happening. And I just bumped into it in Now Beach, and she was across. She came over to see one of my friends who owns a club, say hello. And I just nudged my friend. I was like, grab her now. I was like, grab her now. And then I got a number. I got her Instagram.
Wait, did you give her some chat, or were you like?
Yeah, no.
Were you nervous?
I was shitting myself. Yeah, I was literally very nervous. I literally can remember her face and what she was wearing and everything. And she gave me her Instagram, and then she didn't speak to me for 6 weeks.
No way.
Yeah, she gave me like a few messages, but she was going through a really tough breakup.
Okay, fair. Sorry, but where were we? Where were we there?
How you got pied?
Yeah, I remember it. I was in Portugal at the time, staying with my business partner Jamie, and I had to get a taxi back to Portugal from Spain because there was no flights. It's like 4 hours. And I was looking on a big like calm down on the weekend. I was so hungover, and I was looking at my phone. I was like, why is she not texting me back? I just felt like a fucking moron. Anyway, she replied to me. It was a birthday, and I said, I hope you had a lovely birthday. And
was this after like 6 weeks of being aired?
Yeah, it was a while.
Okay.
She replied. I was like, no fucking way. And then we went straight into like voice notes, and then she wouldn't give me a number for ages. She was so good, which is probably how you meant to do it. And then we went on our first date in London. It was the best date I've ever been on. So good.
Where'd you bring her?
Bardo in London.
Okay.
It's sick. It's like went to a rooftop bar, had a cocktail, went to Bardo. It's like really old school, like Italian vibes, like red leather sofas with a live singer, really classy. Right. And I didn't know this about the venue. We finished dinner, It's actually really bad. I had really bad stomach at dinner, and I was like, I had wind, and it's like, and I was like, and she was going, "Do you want me to rub your belly?" And I was like, "You're a fucking keeper." And I was like, yeah, my stomach was hurting. Anyway, after dinner, I was like, said to the barman, "Have you got anywhere to go?" And it was like one of those secret doors with books, and he said, "Just go through there." And it was a library with a DJ in it and a bar, and we stayed in there chatting.
Nice.
And then had a first kiss, and then.
The rest is history. So she just moved over here with you then? Took a chance on you?
Pretty much, yeah. You know, when, like, everything just felt right and everything was fast, but it felt right.
How long are you together now?
7 months, 2 days.
Oh my God, the day and
The
everything.
days.
Girls, if he doesn't know the day, then he's not.
He's not the one.
He's not the one if he doesn't know the year and the day.
I
and
only
the hour
worked
and the
out,
minute.
actually, at the gym. I looked at my phone because the guy I was training with, he was, "How long have you been with the girlfriend?" I was like, it was the 21st of July. And then just did the math. So, yeah.
Unreal. Unreal.
So you've gone from ex on the beach
Yep.
to businessman,
Grown
and
up.
wifed off, proper grown up.
And the dog, we can't forget
And
the
the
dog.
dog.
Yeah, little Maple, got a dog. So the story behind that is do you know what? It's because I love my family. I've been privileged to come from a really good family. I brought up on a farm, and all I wanted was to settle down and have a dog. And I've been looking for ages, and we're going. My camera rolls feed is on IG is just full of them. I like big dogs, but anyway, she loves Maltipoos. Anyway, I'm in the gym. Do you know Tristan from the gym? Bright blonde hair.
Probably.
Tristan
if I saw-
Barnes. You'll know him.
Probably.
You've seen him. He's come up to me, and every time he tries to see me, he tries to sell me something. First time was like a Lamborghini scooter that he's bought. He doesn't want. I was like tempted, but I'm all right. Then it was an iPad, and then he comes up. He goes, "I've got this fucking dog." I was like, "Shut up." I was like, "Don't speak to me." And he goes, "All right, come on, show me it." And it was the exact dog we've been looking at.
So cute.
And he's like, this couple had given it to him. They're 19 traders, and they just can't look after it. So he's taken it on for a little bit. And I went around to see her, and I was like, I've
That's
got
the
to have
one.
her. And I showed Emma. And then I went to the gym one day, and then just thought, fuck it, I'm going to go buy it. And took it home. And then she started crying when I put it in. I've done a little YouTube on it. It should be going up soon. But yeah, it was
So
feels right.
So the dog was like the stamp, like to say, like, is she the one? Is Emma the
No,
one?
she's the one anyway. But like, it's just, I wouldn't get a dog if I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I'm not about that. It's unfair, you know.
But that's you practicing before baby, you know
Baby.
that? How do
Is
you
that
feel
what it
about that?
is?
Yeah. You're meant to like have the dog first, see how you get on with it, and then, you
Is
know,
it-
next time.
Maybe it is. I mean, she's in full mum mode right now. Like, full mum mode.
I
Yeah.
can't relate.
We cannot relate to that right now.
I don't barely fucking see the dog. Like, she got like her bed's by her side of the bed as well. She puts her to sleep.
That's
Twin-
very cute. So you're in full family vibes right now at the moment.
Yeah,
Unreal.
yeah. It's for the first time in the since I moved to Dubai, it's just felt like home. Yeah, you know.
Do you feel like that's because, like you said, like you weren't looking for the relationship at the time, you
Yes.
like weren't pushing for anything with business, you were just going with the flow, like you didn't actually have that pressure on yourself? Do you feel like that's why you are where you are?
It's so cliche, you know, when you say you stop looking for it, it just comes. And then she literally blew me off my feet. And it's so cliche, but it's true. I was in a point where like business was growing, and I just wasn't looking for anything. I kind of semi-given up, and then she just came into my life, and I hate all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, like, because I was searching for so long for a nice girl,
Yeah.
and not saying some of them weren't nice, just weren't right, so to speak. But,
You can say it. You can say
yeah,
it.
slacks. But yeah, here we are.
Unreal. Well, on that note, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been very
And
good.
we will definitely catch you in another one. But guys, we will catch you in the next episode. Thanks, Joss.
Thank you very much.